Hello and welcome to Kion Lab. Today we are going to discuss database design with respect to database management system. So database systems are designed to manage large bodies of information. These large bodies of information do not exist in isolation. They are part of the operation of some enterprise whose end product may be information from the database or maybe some device or service for which the database plays only a supporting role. So we are trying to design a database today. Initially we'll focus on writing of database queries and design of a database schema. So design process contains three stages. First one is the conceptual framework. Second one is, once the conceptual framework is decided, we are going to choose a data model. Conceptual framework stands for whether your database is the relational, whether it is object oriented, whether it's a structured, non-structured, depending on the data model gets chosen. Then it is to be discussed specification of functional requirement. So these three processes are very important when we are designing a process. Now in the next slide we are going to see the actual example. So here we are going to discuss the example of university organization or any academic organization or educational organization. The description that arises from this design phase serves as the basis for specifying the conceptual structure of the database. Here are major characteristics of the university. Now, database design for university organization or educational organization. As this name comes up, that is university organization, what comes in our mind? If there is a university, then immediately the next moment a question comes into our mind that what are the courses it is going to offer. Second thing, when we are talking about university, second thing comes in our mind, how many departments or which department the university had. Next question or next thing comes in our mind that what are the faculties or instructors. The next question comes the students. How are the students? How many students? Whether the national students or foreign students. The next thing comes into the mind, classrooms. And next question or next things, when we are talking about a system, this some of the things comes in our mind, immediately comes in our mind, that as follows: section or list of courses taught. So this some of the things comes in a mind. These are the nouns or these are called as the entities. In database terminology, these are been called as entities. So further we are going to elaborate this. So university is organized into departments. So first entity or the first thing came in our mind, that department, and as the department comes, if I'm supposed to choose a university, then I will first of all choose the course, the department, that is the department is recognized by all these three parameters: department name, building and budget. So here this is department is called as entity. It is been represented by rectangular box in terms of ER diagram, and this oval shape, these are called as the department name, building and here budget. all these three are called as the attributes. Now why we were talking about this? Because when we'll design the entity relationship diagram, that time we are supposed to discuss entity sets, attribute sets and relationship sets, because when we are talking about the entities, if there are more than one entities, then there should be some relation amongst it. So it would be represented something like this: department is the entity and it is been identified by its attribute. So this is also going to helps us to design the schema. Means department name, what type of information it will accept, whether it is a character, alphanumeric or a numeric, date, time, depending on the information, building, budgets, etc. Second thing came in our mind, that is a course. So course, which course I'm going to, or the university is going to offer, or which course I'm going to take. So course ID, title, department name and credits. So these are the attributes which are going to identified by the entity course. Next thing, or thing can be a noun. Next thing, that is the instructors. Our instructors are identified their unique ID or their employee ID. So instructor name, department name and salary. So these are the parameters or the attributes from which the instructor gets identified. Students are identified by their unique ID and it can be having the remaining parameters as name, department name and total credit. So student and department, there could be a relation. We'll see in the coming slide. Classrooms. University maintains a list of classrooms. Classrooms are identified by building, in which building this classroom is, classroom number 1, 2, 3, 4 or depending on whatever the number mentioned, and room capacity, whether it is a capacity is 20 students, 40 students, so on and so forth. University maintains a list of all classes taught. So this regular classes is taken, the whole data has to be maintained by the university. So the section or the classes, list of classes are identified by course ID, section ID, year, semester, building, room number, time slot ID, etc. Now next thing comes, we can elaborate this further. The department has the list of teaching assignments specifying for each instructor the sections the instructor is teaching. So what are the entities comes into this picture or in these statements? Department has a list of teaching assignments. So department has a list of teaching assignments specifying for each instructor. So an instructor can teach one course or more than one course. So between these two entities, department and instructor, so these two entities, we are trying to find out the relation, and the relation, the symbol has used here this diamond shaped box. So teaching assignments, department has a list of teaching assignments specifying for each instructor. So here what is this relationship? What is the verb? Teaching assignments. For each instructor, the sections the instructor is teaching, the section, that means a class. So between instructor and section, again there is a relation developed, and it could be represented by this rectangular box. Again, as in detail we are going, then we are getting the relationship set and its attributes. So instructor teaches section. So verb identified by the relation. So this could be represented, it is a raw presentation or a raw discussion as we are not touched the ER diagram, because in the ER diagram we have to discuss entity sets, attribute sets and relationship sets in detail. So that time it will be more clear. At this raw stage, it will be just to make it understand how the database design has done. Next, the university has a list of all student course registration, specifying for each student the course and associated sections that the student has taken. So what are the entities comes into this picture? The university has a list of students. So student is one entity. Student is a entity. List of all student courses registration, specifying for each student. So here the student registration will get from this student entity, and the courses and the associated sections that the student has taken. So this student and section, these two entities has been relate or maintain the relationship between these two entities, that is student taken courses. Or it could be like that, a student can take a section or more than one section, depending on that cardinality has to be done. So that mapping should be done one to many, many to one, and so on and so forth. So with respect to ER diagram that we are trying to study. Now this is altogether the today's session, that is database design. So when we are talking about a database design, three things must be follow. First thing, conceptual framework. Second thing, once it has been designed, choose the database model. And third one is the functional requirements. Functional requirements, what exactly, what operations we are supposed to want. Now here the example we have discussed, that is the university organization. Here we have discussed only very few entities. As we are trying to design the real application, it will be more and more complex. So we have to consider each and every minute details. So in the coming videos, we are trying to understand the ER diagrams. So keep watching, and thank you for listening this video.